Yellowstone had a slow burn in the beginning, but the world has finally caught up and it seems like the show was really only getting started, which is why the news that Kevin Costner is stepping away from Yellowstone for a huge new project comes as such a big surprise. What is his new project, and does that mean the end of Yellowstone? More about this at the end of the video. Will 1883 be renewed? Yellowstone has been such a huge success that not one but two spin-offs have been brought forth. 1883 was the first one to be released, a prequel to the events of Yellowstone, taking place 130 years earlier. It follows the lives of James Dutton, played by Tim McGraw, and his wife Margaret Dutton, who's portrayed by Faith Hill, as they travel from Texas to Yellowstone in search of a better life. It's available on Paramount Plus only, but that has not made it much less popular. On February 22nd, 2022, Paramount Plus announced that it had ordered more episodes. But the question is, of what? Unfortunately, when it's going into production is also yet unknown, and no release date has been given yet, but it seems like whenever things will be set in motion, what we're going to have to be given is not really going to be what we might expect or want it to be. Tyler Sheridan, who doesn't think of the series as much as a spin-off, but more like a 10-hour film or limited series, he says it's a complete story, but with the same roots. So does that mean there won't be any more episodes after all? Well, yes and no. More about that in the next part. We're jumping 49 years into the future, to the year 1932. Maybe it's not that big of a surprise that there won't be an actual continuation of 1883 when you think about it for a second. The narrative was perfectly wrapped up as the Dutton family made their way to the Oregon Trail. Even if that meant killing off two main characters, it was a huge question mark as to where the story was supposed to go after that. Well, to 1932 it seems. We're going to follow the Dutton family as they try to deal with all the trials of Prohibition and the Great Depression. Even if you haven't seen Yellowstone, it's likely you know that the absence of alcohol in the presence of the Dutton family means surefire violence. Obviously, and sadly, it's very unlikely we'll be seeing anything more of Sam Elliott or Isabel May in their roles as Shay Brennan and Elsa Dutton. When taking account of age, a reasonable prediction would be that we'll see John Dutton Sr., though played by a different actor, but Sheridan has teased that some of the characters that were introduced as children in 1883 will be included. Whatever's gonna happen in the new limited series, it will probably debut very late into the year. What happened to the plans of the Yellowstone 4/6s? Yellowstone 4/6s was one of the spin-offs that was originally announced in early 2021, however since then it has been eerily quiet, and no real news has been released. And it was not included in the recent update that brought more info on Yellowstone and the production of 1932. The premise of the show was to be the real-life 4/6s ranch in Texas, following the lives of the cowboys living there. It seemed like a good foundation had been put down when Jimmy Herdstrom, played by Jefferson White, was sent to the ranch to learn more about being a cowboy. This is also where he met his girlfriend Emily, portrayed by Catherine Kelly. But Kelly has since become a regular to Yellowstone, so the couple starring in the spin-off is no longer possible. But it seems like Sheridan has just been very preoccupied with the production of 1932, for which he had the plot mapped out to the very last detail. As of now, the series has not been canceled. It's very possible the plot simply needs further development, but when it does come out, it won't be airing on Paramount Network. Instead, it will exclusively be available on Paramount Plus. So far, all we know about the spin-offs that have sprouted from Yellowstone. So let's get on the real news. Is Kevin Costner really stepping away from Yellowstone? If so, what is this huge new project that has put the power to pull him away from such a successful project in which he plays the main character? You'll find out in the next part of this video, so stay tuned. Next, Kevin Costner steps away from Yellowstone for a huge new project. With Season 5 of Yellowstone has been announced and even scheduled to begin filming somewhere in May 2022, Kevin Costner has revealed he will be stepping away from the hugely successful Yellowstone. The news comes as a huge blow to Yellowstone fans because John Dutton, the lead role of Yellowstone, is portrayed by no other than Kevin Costner himself. This is despite the show's growing popularity. Not only is Yellowstone the most watched cable show since The Walking Dead, there are two spin-offs that were born out of Yellowstone. It looks like the success is nowhere near slowing down and is in fact only getting started, but Kevin Costner seems to think otherwise. During a SAG-AFTRA Foundation Q&A, he said, "This show has grown in popularity. It has, but there's other examples in front of us." He then proceeded to cite some other hugely popular series that didn't exactly end on good terms with their fan bases. Among those, he called out Game of Thrones. That's why he thinks it's really important important to continue with the same energy as they started with and let what's popular in the world take care of itself. Because there's a day when it will all go away. And it looks like he won't be there to see that day because Costner has revealed that he's decided to expand a new Western film of his own. What does this mean for Yellowstone? As mentioned before, Yellowstone Season 5 has long since officially been confirmed and filming will begin in May 2022. One of the biggest complaints, if you can call it a complaint, was that the 10-episode format simply wasn't enough. No release dates have been given yet. Paramount Network did announce that the coming season will consist of 2 chapters. The first one is scheduled to be released somewhere in the summer of 2022. After the slightly traumatizing Season 3 finale, which left us with a multitude of cliffhangers, Season 4 ended on a surprising, upbeat note. But there are a few things that will have to be worked out, and Costner leaving the set does not mean we'll never get answers to some of the most burning questions we've been left with. Though not a lot of people know about Garrett, Beth absolutely does. And she has a picture of Jamie disposing of his body. Will he face legal ramifications, or is it all possible for them to reconcile? And what did Casey mean by "I saw the end of us"? Who is us? With Costner's words of warning about popularity still ringing in everyone's ears, we're sure they'll do everything in their power to make the upcoming season the most gripping one yet. How they're going to write Kevin Costner out of the plot, or whether he's even going to be in Season 5 at all, is still a big question. So what do we know about Kevin Costner's huge new project? Even if we're sad to see Kevin Costner disappear from Yellowstone and will desperately miss our leading man, we can't blame him for chasing his dream projects. In this case, he's returning to directing for the first time in 20 years with the Western film Horizon. Apparently, casting took place in February, and production is scheduled to start in August. Costner will produce, finance, and star in the movie through Costner's own production company, Territory Pictures. It's very likely that the movie will follow in the footsteps of his 1990 Western movie, Dances with Wolves, which was his directing debut, in which he also starred himself. It was a huge success and won him 2 Oscars. Costner told Deadline that the movie will span 15 years before and after the Civil War. America's expansion into the West was one filled with peril and intrigue, from the natural elements to the interactions with the indigenous people that lived on the land, and the determination, if not ruthlessness, of many who sought to settle it. Horizon will go into an honest and forthcoming way to tell that story, highlighting the points of view and consequences of decisions made by the characters. Knowing Costner's history and the fact that this is a huge passion project for him, the production value is promised to be amazing. And since filming is still a while away, it isn't likely we'll see the film until 2023. So far, we all know about Kevin Costner stepping away from Yellowstone and the movie that caused it, Horizon. How do you feel about Costner leaving Yellowstone? And are you excited for more news about Horizon to come out? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.